And we are back again. It's your friendly
Yeah,
neighborhood film watchers. It's Franklin Football in the building. I am your
yeah.
humble host, Brandon, and I got my man, 100 grand, 1,000 grand, might even be a million grand. Set it off,
Woo!
Chris, with me. How you
What's up,
feeling today,
man?
Chris? It is
I'm good.
draft eve.
Right,
And what
draft
better time
eve.
to get in like a midday show than the day before
Yeah.
draft day, right?
Oh man, anytime, man. It's a good time. Me and you can kick it and talk. I had to
Mhm.
catch him. I'm in the middle of a little training session. My son's training, and
Mhm.
just had to come pop out real quick so we can get done what we need to get done. So, me and B were going back and forth, and a couple of years back, when we were doing this draft thing, man, we took such pride in the work that we did,
Mhm.
and when the draft didn't go the way we thought it should have went, like some of the guys that we didn't think we thought they should have taken, and they didn't take them, we were totally upset, mad, and angry. So we
Mhm.
felt like, hey, just go out and give a little precursor to the family, some of the do's and don'ts about this draft season. So
Yeah.
the number one thing that I want you to do is not
I
drop the
dropped my
mic,
phone.
not drop the phone, but also don't take the draft personal.
Absolutely.
Right, right. So me and Brandon were talking the other day, and there was this safety from TCU that Brandon to this day still loves. Now, Traylon Morwig was a bigger safety, was the
Mhm.
NFL caliber player, but
Mhm.
what's your man's name? What's your man's name?
Darius Washington.
There we go. He will never forget that. I always mess with
Never.
him about that. Darius Washington on film was a better player, but because of his size, that was his concern. And when Darius Washington was on the board and the Cowboys didn't take him, and he kept falling in the draft, and he saw other guys that we had looked at, and Brandon was pissed for like
Mm.
a week
Livid.
because of Darius Washington. I mean, livid because he didn't think his eyes had lied to him about what he saw. And at the end of the day, he was right. Darius Washington was an NFL caliber player. Trail Morwig was a first round caliber guy, right?
Mhm.
He lived up to it, but Darius Washington got everything out of it. So what we're just trying to share with you guys, from us to you, is don't take the draft personal.
Absolutely. Another first round example of that, to bring this into to Dallas world briefly, Micah Parsons, right?
Man, what? Go
Micah
ahead.
Parsons.
Yeah,
Parsons being a guy that didn't play due to the COVID year. There were a lot of unknowns about him. Of course, we know who he is now. He's the
absolutely.
all star, the perennial all pro, the prototype for the position now, right?
Right, right,
But at that
absolutely.
time, there were plenty of unknowns. And you and I were huge fans of Rashawn Slater, who eventually
Hey man,
fell,
come on.
fell to the Chargers.
Absolutely.
Right?
Was the next pick after was the next pick. I mean, he was sitting there
Yes.
waiting to be drafted. And we were like, oh
Yes.
my God, we got to get Rashawn Slater. We got to get the left tackle of the future. We'll be able to transition. And
Mhm.
they took Micah Parsons. And we had
Yes.
Micah Parsons as being, man, this dude was just an off ball linebacker that gets fooled
Mhm.
by read options. Now, we have rescinded those comments. We
Of
have
course.
repented. We have gone to the tabernacle and killed our doves and slaughtered our goats to get recompense for our wrongdoings.
Yeah.
But when you do this and we look at people who we think should be this guy, listen, don't get it twisted because there are guys who do this full time all day behind the scenes, talking to
Mhm.
janitors, talking to librarians, and they're looking for the best guy. Because you're looking for that 1% of the world to play this game at a high level. So
Mhm.
definitely don't take the draft personal.
Absolutely,
Um,
man.
yeah. hmm
And
What's the next one, B?
I think the next thing would be to keep an open mind about, and you touched on this when you talked about guys that do this 365 days a year. Talent acquisition is a year long thing, right?
Right.
Trust your team scout department. This isn't just a cowboy show. This is a draft show. Trust your team's scouting department
Unless your
because
team sucks. Unless your
there we
team
go.
sucks at
Unless your team is bad at this, right?
it.
Thankfully,
Right.
we don't really have that concern.
That
But
ain't my issue. Yeah, yeah.
most teams trust your team scouting department. Um, and Chris's camera cut out, but I'm great. I can adjust. Most scouting departments have done the work, and there you go, you're back. Most team scouting department have done the work prior to the draft. So even if they take a
Right.
guy you would, take a round later or a guy a round earlier, look at Sam Williams and Jalen Tolbert at that point in time.
Perfect.
The Sam Williams
Right.
they'll be taken in the third round, and Jalen Tolbert a guy in the second round. Look how that
Yeah.
turned out, right? So
Yeah,
that
right.
just shows you to trust your team scouts.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
in most cases, they're not going to lead you wrong. How do
No
you
doubt.
feel about that, Chris?
No doubt. I mean, that you said it. You said it eloquently, man. Yeah, you got to sit up and say, "Hey, who's that guy?" And if you turn around and see a guy that may be a day two pick, who you look at his film, like I think, okay, so let's take with Sam Williams. Sam Williams played in the best conference in football. Knicks was all over it. Sorry for the moving camera, family. Knicks was all over it. He said Sam Williams was going to be a great player.
Mhm.
And he played at Ole Miss, and he played standing up, and he got played out of position. So the scouts saw that.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Tolbert is fine. I just think Jalen Tolbert got thrust into a situation where there was too much expectation for him.
Okay.
Way too much expectation for him, because he was supposed to come to be the savior of a first round route guard type ball player to replace him and his production. And that's what we with great naivety, or being naive, try to use my new T.I. big word for the day.
T.I. word of the day.
Of thinking, oh, this guy here out of college, out of South Alabama, not Alabama, but South Alabama, can go and play as good as Amari Cooper, and he'll be able to replace that production. We were foolish in thinking that. And so I think you got to realize those guys are going from, if you were driving, you're going from a regular highway to the NFL, was the Autobahn. Two totally different things. And the speed of the game, terminology, what you're expected to do, being a professional is totally different. So some guys, it takes time to transition. And I think that's one thing you can't end up doing.
And I think I'm glad that you mentioned Tolbert, because, as of right now, anyway, we have to deal with this. How do you handle, and once again, this is not Cowboy specific, but we can only use the examples that we're aware of, right? How do you handle draft day disappointment?
I think you have to take a big picture approach, because you got to sit up and say to yourself, you first, you want to be, because he's your player now, he's your guy, you want to embrace it. You want to be to the point, this is our guy, we're bringing him in, he's going to be able to play. He's going to be able to make this happen. Look at his positives, look at his strengths, look at the things he does well, and then trust the process of people around you and how they've been able to help develop people around them. So that's what you do. First and foremost, he's your guy now. If it's an ugly baby, guess what? He's your baby. So you gotta love him. That's what you have to do. That will be the first thing I do. And then just kind of see, hey, how the progression is, because you start seeing the things that they're good at. We did the same thing last year with Tyler Smith. A lot of people were mad that they took Tyler Smith, thought that he was the worst thing in the world, and then we start saying, well, look where he played at. But look at the coaching that he got. And then you start hearing this young man talk, how he carried himself, how he was about protection, how he was about trying to be the best he could be, and then you just let him go to work. And so a guy who led the FCS in holes in his last year of college football turns around and comes to Dallas. He has some holes, but he's playing against elite players. He has some hiccups. He had some hiccups early. And as the season went on, you saw the 16, 17, 18, 19 game season weigh on him. But then you also saw in the process of that his strength, his will to get better, and the guy that he is. So just understand that he's your guy, embrace him, and then find the positives in that guy and everything that they do. Yep.
Absolutely. So let's push it back a little bit further. Let's say after that rookie year, that guy does not perform. We just experienced that, right? How do you handle it then?
Well, okay, you got two spectrums.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say, okay, so let's take a guy who we loved when we draft him, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and he hasn't performed yet. One Kelvin
Mm-hmm.
Joseph. When Kelvin
Boom.
Joseph got
Ooh.
drafted,
I
when
wasn't
Kelvin,
even talking about that one, Chris. But
see,
ooh,
but
you
I
just
want
entered
you,
the
okay.
room.
Hey man, I mean, rip the band-aid off. Just get it
There we
clean.
go.
So when Kelvin Joseph got drafted, we were excited. We were like, oh man, this guy's a lockdown corner. He's gonna come in. Him opposite of Trey. We're gonna have a no-fly zone. We were all
Mm-hmm.
hyped about that. And then you started realizing that Kelvin Joseph had only played 15 collegiate games. You
Yeah.
started to see some of the immaturity. And then his
Mm-hmm.
offseason did not move him to the point of saying he was going to be able to start progressing. So
Yeah.
after that first year, you're saying, okay, we see him on the field. He's trying to get there. He's been hurt. But that offseason with the incident that happened with the young man and he lost his life, he lost a lot of the fan base.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Because of his off-field actions, because it was like he loved what football brought him and not football. And
Mm-hmm.
Brandon is the chairman, CEO, and he runs the whole board of the if you don't love football, you gotta
I
get out
don't
of my
want you.
town.
I don't
Yeah, he
want you.
don't want you. So it's a lot of people those guys have to win back. I look
Mm-hmm.
so let's say with Jalen Tolbert. A lot of people were mad at Jalen Tolbert being a third round pick, not being able to become the guy that he's supposed to be. I put a lot of that on Kellen Moore. I put that
Okay.
on watching a lot of receivers struggle their
Mm-hmm.
first year with option routes and having to try to play DB as a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. So I'm to the point I have a little bit more grace with Jalen Tolbert because he
Mm-hmm.
was able to come out and say, "Hey, I needed to learn how to be a pro." You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so you kind of have it depends on how they embrace the adversity and how they speak on it. If they
Mm-hmm.
do, if they do the Kelvin Joseph way and just continue to hang out and be in the wrong spots and not do certain things,
They won't last long.
you don't want them. You don't want 'em around. But if you turn around like Jalen Tolbert and you every time I see you with Rain Dakota Prescott and you're looking yoked and you're out there running routes and you're out there trying to
Mm-hmm.
be explosive, I think there's a chance.
Okay. Okay. So just to kind of bring this into a Cowboys perspective, because we've been talking very generally so far. Obviously, I am of the opinion that you have to act as if Jalen Tolbert does not exist until he proves you wrong, right? Are you willing to give him, like you said, that grace and not necessarily draft a guy that would directly compete with him and or replace him?
My thing is that you're not drafting a guy to replace Jalen Tolbert. You're
Mm-hmm.
drafting a guy to replace Michael Gallup.
Break that down for me, please.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the Cowboys' number one thing that they well not number one, the things that the Cowboys look for are young, cheap talent.
There we go.
That's what we need.
Yep.
So if I can go get a younger, cheaper, more talented version of the wide receiver to a guy who my guaranteed money can run out not this year but the year after, and that
Mm-hmm.
means this year I get a guy in my system, I get him on my training table, I get the offseason peanut butter in him, and I got another 2-3 years that I can pay him cheaply, and
Mm-hmm.
then I can get rid of say a Michael Gallup or Brandon Cooks comes to the end and say one day I say ouch and don't want to play no more, then I
Mm-hmm.
go get that guy. I go get that guy. So I'm always trying to spark competition at every
Mm.
chance I can.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna if I'm in the second or third round and a young talented wide receiver sitting there like a Charlie Jones is sitting there, you know, and he's sitting there and I got an opportunity to go get him, then I go get
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Jones. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
if
Okay.
if Mingo is sitting there, wide receiver out of Kentucky, out of Ole
Yeah.
Miss, hey,
Yep.
I'll go get him. Yeah. So I'm not doing that to be to the point. Oh well, because I got Jalen Tolbert, I got Simi Fehoko over here. I'm not going to draft a guy. No, I'm going to go draft a young, cheap, talented guy and bring him and throw him in the mix.
Okay. Yeah, I can get down with that because just like you
Yeah,
said, or like we said earlier, talent acquisition is 365, right? And
absolutely,
I can't
absolutely,
let a guy stop me from getting better. Um,
no doubt.
So
Stevie Mac,
let's
what's up, baby?
what's going on, Stevie? Salute to you. You always here. Thank you very much. So let's bring this into the Cowboys draft, like we were saying. What is a draft day surprise that will have you shocked? You know, clutching your pearls or covering your mouth like this, right? What is the situation that would do that to you?
Let's say tackles are falling down the board,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say there's a particular tackle, one that you don't care for. I'll let you say his name.
Now hold up. Now hold up. It's not that I don't care for any particular guys. I like the guys that are fringe first round picks and above. I really like them, you know. But I can still, you know, gripe about them. You know, that's what.
Okay. All right. So guys who you feel have not warranted a first round grade. How about that?
Fair. Are you talking about Darnell by any chance?
No. Oh, no. I'm not talking about a tight end. Let's say if one of the tackles.
I thought you said old lineman. I apologize.
Yeah. Old lineman. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about old lineman. But let's say one of the tackles come down the board and you're looking like, okay, if Soronsky's falling down the board, right, and we take Soronsky. Even though I want to stay with the old, see, right? You said I look you had on your face. I just said the man's name, and you're wiggling, right? So if I end up being in that situation, that would be my draft spot. A lesser talented need position player, ends up at 26, and we take him. Okay. So if Peter Skoronsky falls down to 26, and I'm taking him at 26, but Will McDonald's there, or one of the top tier wide receivers are there. Quentin Johnson's there, or or a weapon like Bijan is sitting there, and I take Skoronsky because I know I want to strengthen my offensive line. Yeah, that's gonna make me gasp.
Okay. On my end, I think it would be neglecting the offense. You know, at positions where guys are there, just like you said, if a guy falls and you neglect the offense, because we saw limitations last season, and I think that they've taken great strides to try to correct that. But obviously, there are still positions of need. I may not agree with tight end one, but I definitely think that you can always look to upgrade the position, right, or add competition to it at the very least. Same with running back. So I think that if any position they neglect the offense, like if hypothetically they don't draft a running back at all because there are other guys there like a linebacker, edge, one tech, etc. That would be a big surprise for me because, while you brought in a Ronald Jones, is that really the answer? Is that just a Band-Aid over a gaping wound,
Well, without question. But my thing is, if the best running back is gone, let's say Bijan Robinson is gone, I'm not going to be mad if they decide not to take a running back until the third round.
Well, I love it. Don't threaten me with
clear my throat. Yeah.
A good time, right?
Right.
But here's the thing: I was talking about at all. I was talking about at all. Yeah.
Because, that's a big surprise.
Teams can, I guess, get overconfident that a particular player will fall. And let's say they constantly say, okay, this guy will be here next round. Okay, this guy will be here at 58. Okay, they'll be at 90. Then it's 129. And by the time you get to the 200s, it's wiped out.
Yeah. So, I definitely, and now that would be shocking if you don't go and try, and honestly, because of the situation you have in hand with your starting running back on a franchise tag,
and coming off
an injury, and being overpriced because of the market, because you didn't allow the market to settle before you made your decision. That would be shocking if you don't go get one at all. And that definitely would be shocking.
Absolutely. Yep. I think we've seen situations like that before. Of course, with interior defensive line where they neglect to get a substance.
Yeah.
There's been years where we, even after the Jason Witten years, before we knew that Dalton Schultz was that guy. They didn't go and draft a tight end, things like that. Or
Right.
rather, I should say, a tight end of substance. Around those times. So we've seen that and we've experienced that before, right? But I think that they're better at this now. So we have expectations for the team.
Yeah, I think they're way better at it. I think they tried to throw some things at it. But see, I have a different spin on that, and that's for another show, another time about certain players. But I think they're making wiser decisions when it comes to how they bring guys in and how they rotate certain positions. A tight end is one that I think they've made a lot of smart decisions with. So I don't think they're going to bring any more progress stoppers for people into the organization. If a guy can play, he can play. And if he's to the point of he's trying to get to the end of his contract or his fulfillment of his contract, and we got another guy in the wings to work and come forward, I think that regardless of what the pundits say, I think the organization knows what they're doing with that. We've been talking about that ad nauseum. How is it? At 26 we need a tight end, and me and you both don't think they need a tight end. I think I got my tight ends on my roster. But you rubbing your chin, champ. So tell me what you're thinking.
So you brought up one thing, how you don't think that they'll bring in any more progress stoppers. Do you think that there's, and this may not be draft related right now, do you think there's any progress stoppers on the Cowboys right now? I can think of one.
No. Okay. I don't believe there are any progress stoppers. I think you have a stopgap guy that you're hoping, because I think me and you have the same vibe on who you think a progress stopper is. I don't think there's a progress stopper like Jason Witten.
No,
I don't.
Absolutely not.
No,
absolutely
right.
not.
Jason was hell bent on playing. Tyron wants to play, but they've structured his contract that he has to play, but that means his body's got to stay healthy. And his body has betrayed him for the last 4 years. Go back to these numbers. 4, 11, 2. Last 3 seasons. No, 2, 11, and 4. That's what it is. 2, 11, and 4 that he's given us the last couple of years.
Okay.
So
and those are the games played.
Right, those are games played. So I don't think Tyron is that guy, And right. So I just think going with that, I don't think that you have that guy that's stopping everything now. So and just like and Stevie, you're right. We are in a win now mode. So if you want to go get the best player, I think having Tyron here, if somebody goes down, having Tyron in the stretch helps. I think Tyron is probably the most expensive swing tackle if you're able to go get a tackle early who can plug and play. And let him be the swing. Because what you're hoping is medical science is perfect, that Terrence Steele doesn't have a relapse on his knee. And you're hoping that Tyron's body doesn't betray him, but it has for the last 3 years. So it would make all the sense in the world in the first round to either go get a top tackle if he falls to you, or go get a guard to be able to do that as well. If you don't, because
by picking a guard, you kick Smith out to the tackle position, right?
You keep Tyler at left tackle, let him continue to progress and become better. You have Tyron, because he's a game played guy. If Terrence falters, boom, I can put him at right tackle. If a guard, but because there's not a highly rated guard right there at 26, and you don't think you'll maybe give him at 58, then what you do is you may have to overdraft or take him a little bit early, a guard at 26 to get what you want, to be able to not have to go out in the market and go find a swing tackle, which I think I think that was one of the better things you should have done in free
Yeah.
agency, but you didn't do it. But so you want to keep Tyron, you
Yeah,
know?
I don't think that they properly addressed, depth on the offensive line fully because Udoga, I believe his last name is, dude from the Jets.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
he
yeah.
he he has
Yeah.
a pulse. That's what I can say about him. He has a pulse,
I,
but is
I
he a
think that was
quality depth piece? Is Matt Farniok a quality depth piece? Is Matt Waletzko, Josh Ball? Are these guys quality depth pieces? Right?
right. Now, and so those are the things you look at. I think, but more importantly, um, you said it perfectly. But more importantly, you didn't address it by going and go get a bona fide swing. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that you couldn't have as much turnover this offseason. Releasing Zeke was huge. Releasing Tyron would have been catastrophic. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because the fan base would have lost their mind of losing both of those guys who are such key, pivotal parts to the Cowboys' success and to the fan base. So
Yeah.
I think they let Zeke go. I think Zeke's fine. I think Zeke may have played his last game or he may resurface after Thanksgiving somewhere. But
Yeah.
I think for the fan base, letting both of those two iconic players go at the same time probably would have been crazy.
Would have seen rise likely, but my last question, is there a team that you think has, what's the best way to word it, like the best situation in round one, as far as going into the draft?
I think the Chicago Bears have an amazing situation.
Mm.
I think the Chicago Bears have the ability to transform who they are and to
Hmm.
continue to build pieces around Justin Skyler Fields. If y'all don't understand one thing with me, when I love a quarterback, I say his whole name. If you often, when I talk about Rain Dakota Prescott, because I love him, I say his whole name. I love Justin Skyler Fields. I think Justin Skyler Fields is a baller, and I think
Hmm.
he needs pieces around him. So I think the Bears, with the move that they made by knowing they had their quarterback and moving out and getting extra first round picks, and they could double up some different areas. They could trade back again and bevy up some more picks if certain things fall a certain kind of way. They can transform their team to be a force and a power over
Hmm.
the next couple of years by being able to get top premier talent in the top 50 to top 75 for the
Yeah,
next couple of years.
they got
That's what I
four
think.
picks in the top 75 picks this year,
Right. I think.
so
Yeah.
that's a
See, that's
great
what I'm saying. Yeah.
situation for them. They can pick a guy whether they want an offensive lineman or a receiver. Well, they got DJ Moore there now. But if they want to get a weapon of some variety, right?
Right.
They can definitely do
Right.
that at pick number 9. But
Yeah.
then you got 53, 61, and 64, all very close together in the second rounds. You got three
Man.
second round picks.
Right.
Um,
And you. Yeah. Right.
and you
And
can
that's
make full
quality.
use of.
Yeah. You can make or parlay it into more picks into drafts to come.
That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so that makes sense. Yeah, Stevie, hey, I'm with you all the way, man. What you said about going ahead and addressing that, so you don't have to reach, because where
Mhm.
you're at, you're really in the second round
Yeah.
with a guy with the opportunity to have to develop into a fifth year guy. And
Mhm.
like I said, we've gone over the guards, we've gone over certain things that you want to do, but you're right, you're kind of in a wait and see mode at
Mhm.
26.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned, those bottom of the round picks. Um, Picking at 26. I'll say 24 on back is essentially a high second round pick, right? And this applies to any
Absolutely.
team because this is not a Cowboys show. I need to remind people.
Hmm.
Um, if a team is picking, let's say in those bottom 6 picks, how comfortable are you with reaching on a guy who may have a round lower grade in order to satisfy a position?
Um, I got two words for you to answer that. Answer my
Okay.
question. Taco Charlton.
Oof. Ouch. Taco was different
Right.
though, Chris. Taco was different.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
he
a
couldn't
clear
play.
miss
He
because there
couldn't.
were.
Yeah, but hey, he was different. He
Hmm.
couldn't play. That's
Hmm.
what he was. So, and then the next pick,
TJ Watt.
you end up. Come on, man. Come on, man.
So that's why I
Come
said
on,
it
man.
was different. That's why I say that was different because there was a clearly better player at the same position. Um, you
Not not
in a
according
lot
to
of
your defensive
situations.
coordinator. Not
That's
according to
true.
your defensive
That's
coordinator.
true. That guy isn't here anymore though.
I don't think that guy's in football no more.
Ah man, is Rod? I don't know.
Yeah. Rock on, rock on.
Fair
Rod's
enough. I
gone.
mean,
He's left the business.
as he deserves to be for what it's worth.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but like let's say the Chiefs are picking at 31
Okay.
without taking into account any trades, right? They know they need a receiver. They could always upgrade offensive line, defensive line, etc. But let's say Michael Mayer's sitting there, tight end. Obviously the better player, but do you think that a team should feel comfortable reaching down to a guy that they may have a second round grade on? Even though the optics of it, oh, this is day one, you got to hit on a guy, you know? How do
Yeah.
you feel about a situation like that?
I think you always go with the highest rated player on your board. We talked about this last
Mhm.
night. I
Yeah.
don't care what it is. I understand. Hey, 26, I'm there. Let me find the
Hmm.
highest rated guy I have on my board. Let me
Yeah.
bring him in. And if I got to double up in a position, I got to double up in a position because
Hmm.
this is a war of attrition. And so you're going to end up having guys get hurt and guys have to be able to play. So let me go get
Hmm.
the best guy I can get at that position if he's highest rated on my board.
Yeah.
And I always go back to the scenario with CD Lamb. You didn't have to
Mhm.
get CD Lamb. He was
Luxury.
the highest rated guy. Yeah, he was a luxury pick, but he turned out to be the best pick for you to get at 17.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's a great comparison to use because that was a situation where it worked out.
Yeah,
So yeah, man, you trust your board. You let the board be the board. And teams that are really good at this, in which Andy Reid is in this situation, they find a place for guys. They'll find a place for guys.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
I'll use Nick Bolton as an example. Nick Bolton was kind of a luxury pick for them, kind of. But they found a place for him. That he made plays in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yep, they had a linebacker there, former Cowboy. But
Hmm.
they wanted to see if they could get somebody better,
Yeah,
and Nick was arguably better.
loved Nick
And
Bolton
then,
too. Loved Nick Bolton. I was a
oh yeah,
huge fan.
Nick. Oh yeah, everybody loved Nick.
He was
You
probably
know,
my
oh
favorite linebacker in that draft, if we're being honest.
yeah, he was. He was.
Mhm.
Yeah, but Jabril Cox was right up there with you too.
Yeah,
So like
you're
you said,
right.
yeah. So we weren't. Our eyes didn't deceive us. Our eyes
Mhm.
weren't wrong. But Nick was higher ranked than Jabril. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely, absolutely, man.
Yep.
You got anything else?
Man, that's it, man. We just gonna sit back. We're gonna lay back. I'm probably gonna be out working. You probably gonna be
Mhm.
sitting there doing something, technical, savvy, probably tinkering on something for a car or something. And we're
Maybe.
gonna look up, man. We're gonna look up, man, and we're gonna see how this thing unfolds, man. But listen,
Absolutely.
as always, man, we appreciate y'all rocking with us, Stevie. We appreciate it, and everyone else, man, that watches these videos, man. Drops a comment, hits a
Mhm.
like, and all those things. We truly, truly appreciate it. This is what we do, man. We just two guys who love football, try to break down some film and just try to give some insight to the people around us, man.
Mhm.
So since you've been here with us for 30 what, 39, almost 40
34
minutes?
minutes.
34 minutes, my bad. Hit the like
Mhm.
button, right? Smash it. It don't cost you nothing, right? Drop
Free
a
currency.
comment, man. Free curve. Drop a comment, man, because we like to interact, man. But more importantly, hit the subscribe button and help us push
Mm.
to our goal, man, of
That's
getting to
right.
1,000 subscribe subs before the end of the year, man. I am always the sidekick. I am the Amari Stoudemire. I'm the Sean Kemp to the Gary Payton that Brandon is, man. You know what I'm saying? We do this thing together because we love it. And we together, we are Frankly Football. And until next time,
Peace.
peace.